use the table of integrals to evaluate the following integral. We're going from a lower bound of 0 to an upper bound of 2 of x cubed times the square root of 4x squared minus x to the 4th dx. So what we're going to do is we're going to simplify this just a little further. So we have 0 to 2. We're going to leave this as x squared times, what do you have to square to get 4x squared? That's 2x. Minus, what do you have to square to get x to the 4th? That's x squared. And then we're also going to multiply it by the remaining x from the x squared times dx. Because this x times that x squared gives us this x cubed. And then what that's going to allow us to do is now use our u substitution. So what we're going to do is we're going to let u equal x squared. And therefore du is going to equal 2x dx. And so what that'll allow us to do is then find out what this x dx is. We can divide both sides by 2. So 1/2 du is going to equal x dx. So let's go ahead and rewrite our form. So again, we're going from 0 to 2. We have x squared times the square root of, well, 2 squared is the same thing as 2 times 2 x squared minus x squared squared, and that's x dx. Now we're going to go ahead and use our substitution. So we know that x squared is equal to u times the square root of, well, one of these 2's we're going to call a. So a is going to equal 2. So that means the other 2 will be remaining. So we're going to have 2 times a. And again, we know that x squared is u minus x squared, which again is u now squared, and then x dx we know is 1/2 times du. Okay, and then the upper limit we know is u, which is equal to x squared, which means 2 squared is equal to 4. And then the lower limit again is x squared, and 0 squared is equal to 0. So let's go ahead and then write out our integral. So we're going to factor out the 1/2 times the integral going from 0 to 4 of u times 2au minus u squared du. Now if we go to the table of integrals, you're going to see that it matches 114, and there is the integral for 114. So let's go ahead and put that in here. Okay, so now let's substitute everything that we've had so far. So now there go have 1/2 times 2u squared minus a, which we know is equal to 2. So that's minus 2u minus 3 times 2 squared, which is 4. And that gives us 12 over 6 times the square root of 2 times 2, a is 2, which is 4, u minus u squared, plus a we know is 2, and 2 to the 3rd power gives us 8 over 2 times the cosine inverse of a, which is 2 minus u over a, which is 2, and then we're evaluating this from 0 to 4. So let's go ahead and simplify. So let's distribute the 1/2 to both of these terms. So we end up getting 2u squared minus 2u minus 12 over 2 times 6, which is 12, times the square root of 4u minus u squared, plus 8 over 2 times 2, which is 4, times the cosine inverse of 2 minus u over 2. And again, we're evaluating that from 0 to 4. So if you notice, we can factor out a 2 here. So if we factor out a 2, so we get the following. We get u squared minus u minus 6 over 6 times the square root of 4u minus u squared, plus 4, 8 divided by 4, is 2. So that is 2 times the cosine inverse of 2 minus u over 2, going from 0 to 4. So let's first put in the value of 4. So we have 4 squared minus 4 minus 6 over 6 times the square root of 4 times 4 minus 4 squared plus 2 times the cosine inverse of 2 minus 4 over 2. And then we're going to subtract 0 squared minus 0 minus 6 over 6 times the square root of 4 times 0 minus 0 squared plus 2 times the cosine inverse of 2 minus 0 over 2. Okay, so if we simplify here, we have 4 squared is 16, and 16 minus 4 is 12. 12 minus 6 is 6, and 6 divided by 6 gives us 1. So this is going to be 1 times the square root of 16 minus 16, which is 0, plus 2 times the cosine inverse of 2 minus 4, which is negative 2, divided by 2 is negative 1. Minus, we have 0 minus 0, negative 6 divided by 6 is going to give us negative 1, times the square root of 0, plus 2 times the cosine inverse of 2 minus 0 over 2, which is 1. So we know that 1 times the square root of 0 is going to give us 0, plus 2 times the cosine inverse of negative 1 is pi. So that is 2 times pi. And then this is going to mean minus 0, actually plus 0. And then minus 2 times the cosine inverse of 1. And 2 times the cosine inverse of 1 is going to be 0. So 0, 0, 0. And we end up with the result of 2 pi.